Alrighty, guys, welcome in. This is the Dream is the Journey podcast with your host here, Brandon. And today we're going to be talking about authenticity and being authentic and how that applies to your everyday life and your journey. And what does that mean for the dream is the journey? Being authentic isn't the easy road. It's a harder road. And it's very much so a part of the dream being the journey, because when you're being authentic, you're going to authentically be you. You're not trying to be anyone else. You're focused on your journey. And that also means you're not necessarily focused on the good things that life can bring. You're focused on your journey. Because many people just think about the monumental funds and the money that comes with everything. Or the money, the girls, the cars, the clothes, the houses, all that, etc. Many people just focus on that. That's not being authentic. You're just trying to be like everybody else so you can showcase everything that you got to the world and make yourself feel above everybody else. That's not what the dream of this journey is about. And that's not being authentic. Being authentic is focusing on your journey, working hard every day, building your platform with the art that you create. Now, yes, you must learn from the greats and people who came before us. The people that are wise, the people that have been here before, been in the similar scenarios that we are going through right now, trying to get somewhere in life. So we must learn from them. And we take all that and we still craft our Canva to be our own. Okay? So you can learn from others, but you have to learn from people who went through similar situation as you, who have been there, and they were able to rise to the occasion and get somewhere and push through their journey. They didn't give up. They admit it was very hard. They acknowledge that. And they acknowledge that being authentic is the true way to go. Because when you're authentic with it, can't nobody take that away from you. Because that's all you, baby. You worked hard for that. Now, when people go look at all the IG people, the everybody else, whatever the case may be, and you try to take what they're doing, don't get me wrong, it just depends. You have to be careful what you watch. Because it is a spiritual battle every day. The Bible speaks about this. It's a spiritual battle. So the journey is spiritual, very much so. In the sense of, you see all that, the finer things that life can bring, and when you focus on it, then what you're shooting for in life doesn't become authentic. You're not shooting for something to build. You're only shooting for money. You're only shooting for women, or if you're a girl, you're only shooting for guys. You're only shooting for even sexual immortality. Those are the things that you're shooting for. That's not what you should be shooting for. What you want to be shooting for is building something that you can give to the next generation, so you can teach them. Because remember in the last episode, we talked about this. The world doesn't get better if we don't learn from our mistakes and pass this knowledge on to the next generation. That's the only way the world is going to get better. And it's going to take time. But we don't get better by just wanting to be selfish and wanting this stuff, only the finer things. Yes, we want to do some great things in life. We want to live good. We want to have money. Yes, we do. But we want to focus on our journey, because in that situation, we won't lose what we earn. See, this is what happens. You ever hear about some athlete? We've all heard about this. Some athlete or some rich person that gets all this money and then somehow they lose it because they're just spending all these years, and 10, 15 years later, or when they done playing or done with their sport or whatever, they're broke. And that's because they focused on the finer things in life. They didn't focus on the values that they should have been learning from the scenarios that they were in. Say, for example, what I'm saying is, you come from nothing, right? And then you make it, and sport, maybe you do well in school, maybe you land some big time, CEO job or something like that. And you make a lot of money. And you don't appreciate it. Because all you're focused on is everything that the finer things brought to you. You're not focusing on the humility that should have been brought to you because you came from nothing. Or maybe you grew up rich and you lose everything that your parents and grandparents worked hard for because all you were focused on was the money. Oh, I'm rich, it don't matter. But now you didn't lost everything that your parents and grandparents that worked hard for because all you were focused on is the finer things in life. Make sure you find value in simplicity of life sometimes. Find value in that. Because in what I mean when I say that is, you do your work, you go home and you enjoy home. But if you do your work and you go out and you enjoy the world, you have to be careful what could come with that. Because the world doesn't care about you, believe it or not. Worldly things, let's say that. Worldly things and worldly ideas. In a spiritual sense, it doesn't care for you. If we're fighting spirituality every day and spirits every day, that means that the world is bringing that. The world that we live in. So when you find value in simple things like going home to your people instead of going out. Now, I understand we all go out, have a little, something to drink maybe every now and again. I'm not saying there's not necessarily anything wrong with that, but you have to be careful on how much you do that. Because if you get caught up in the world, it's going to tear you apart. And that's not you being your authentic self. That's you trying to fit in with everybody else in the world. Don't fit in with everybody else in the world. If you feel alone, if you feel that if you in a setting around your peers, if you feel different in a sense of you don't fit in, man, that's probably a good thing, believe it or not. If you focus on the dedication and the work and the excellence of your work, if you focus on that, think about where you could be 20, 30 years. It's funny, I live here in Belgrade, Serbia right now. I'm out here for training for basketball and things of that nature. And my cab driver today, I went to the gym to train with my coach. And after training, the cab driver that I had on the ride home, he's 55 years old. He was telling me, I own a cab company. I'm just bored. So I decided to drive today. What? He's like, yeah, I own a few buildings. And he wasn't rude about this. He wasn't boasting. We just had a genuine conversation. He started telling me these things. He's like, yeah, I can, I'm waiting. He's like, man, I'm just waiting on my kids to have kids so I can take care of my grandbabies and then spend time with my grandkids. But, he's like, my kids, they don't have kids yet. They're all in, they were in like 18. One of his daughters was in college. And I think Sweden, he was telling us. And then he has a younger daughter as well too. It's like 14. All his kids are involved with stuff. And he was saying that when jobs need to be done at their buildings, they as a family go do them. He's like, this is our main source of income. So we're going to go to this building and do this work ourselves. He was like, everybody in his household, benefits off of that building. He's like, so we're all gonna go paint. We're all gonna go fix this window. A door needs to be fixed. We're all gonna go fix it together. He's like, my kids, he said, I had to teach them the value of life, that life is not going to give them anything and life is unfair. He said, I take great care of my kids. But he's like, they have to earn what they get from me. As far as like, if they want to go do something, oh, come to the office. You work a little bit. He's like, I'm teaching those values because they still need to understand that life isn't fair. And it was so beautiful the way when he was speaking about this. He was saying that he doesn't have to do anything every day. But it's like, he gets bored. So he's like, sometimes I decide to drive for my own cab company. He owns properties. Matter of fact, one of my coaches, one of my former teammates here in Serbia stays in one of his properties. I was like, wow. That teaches you humility. You think he's going to give up everything he's earned? You think he's going to allow it to be taken from him? You think he's going to be stupid and go out and spend up all his money and give it away? No. That's where we must learn that, and he came from nothing. When we earn stuff that we've been fighting for all of our lives, the lessons that we're learning on a daily basis should teach us humility so we don't give it up when we get it. So we learn how to keep it. So we learn how to stay on top of our grind. He's 55 years old. He can do whatever he wants every day because in his 20s, 30s, and 40s, he gave it everything he had for 3 decades. So when he got to his 50s, he could relax. But you know what? Now his kids can go to college, not having to worry about funds. They can do things. He was telling me they're in jiu-jitsu. One of his daughters is a black belt. The other daughter's a brown belt. One of his sons plays basketball. They can focus on what they want to do. They got to work for it because he's going to make them work. But he's created a better scenario for his bloodline, for generations to come. And that's what we should be focused on. If you're in the struggle, like me, you need to focus on taking care of what you need to take care of your 20s, 30s, and 40s. So when you get to your 50s, maybe we should hopefully have kids by then, and our kids are getting older, they will be taken care of. But we must pass on that knowledge that we learned to them. We cheat them if we don't do that. Be your authentic self. The dream is the journey, baby. Visit our website at BeFitLifestyleBrand.com for merch. Go support the brand. If you like this video, comment, give it a like, subscribe. Every Thursday, we're going to be releasing a new episode. The dream is the journey, baby. Keep chasing after your dreams. Don't give up.